afternoon. So we're gonna have a little talk here, okay? It's about socialism and capitalism and all that stuff. Now, there's this way of thinking that, and it's part of the conservative way of thinking. It's generally conservatives that think this way. Not always. Okay, this isn't necessarily a left or a right thing. It's just something that I've noticed. And they're like, when we try to improve something, there's a lot of people out there that just, they flip your shit about it. Like say, for example, our contract with the union is up in a year. And one of the things that I believe they're thinking about talking about is reducing the progression of raises. Because right now, it starts off at 21, then it goes to 23, and then it goes to 24, then it goes to 28.75, and then it goes to 40. So 4 years to get all the way from $21 to $40 an hour. And they're thinking about cutting it down to a 3-year progression, which is awesome because that would put me at, where would that put me at? The 2 years here this Saturday or Sunday. I think Sunday's my actual 2-year anniversary. And that would put me at the very least, well, no, it would be my 3-year anniversary when this rolls around, or damn near it. So that means that I'll be at top rate, whatever that is. That might be, I don't know, 42, 45, who knows. I know it sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it isn't. Because the CEO still makes 600 times what we make, and the company's still bringing in billions every year. So, I honestly, to a point, do not care what the CEO makes and how much more above the employees it makes, so long as the employees are well paid and have benefits and are taken care of. They're treated well. They actually get to be a part of the company instead of a pawn of the company. Because, I mean, back in the day, I mean, I know I was taught this because that's what my parents were taught. That's what my parents worked. Was pride in your job. You were your job. That's what you did. You know, I'm a truck driver. I don't just drive a truck for a living. I'm a truck driver. It's my livelihood. It's what I am. It's what I do. Does that make sense? If you're a cobbler, you don't just fix shoes for a living. You're a cobbler. That's what you are. That's what you do. So, but now, people don't have that kind of ownership of their profession. They don't have that ownership of their job because it doesn't pay enough to be invested in it, if that makes sense. People need a decent standard of living if you want them to invest in their jobs. If you want them to be more productive. And we're more productive than we've ever been. It's just we're not getting compensated for it. And I'm not necessarily talking about where I work. I'll always want more, but for the most part, outside of their extreme micromanaging and strictness, which is applied arbitrarily, I would say, To some extent. It's across the board on others. The basic number one thing is safety. That's it. As long as you're trying to be safe, they're not really going to heckle you. Plain and simple. It's just a pain in the ass. Outside of that, they do compensate well once you get the top rate. I mean, it did start at like $18 an hour until this last contract. But the contract is every 5 years. The cost of living has gone up quite a bit since then. $21 an hour does not cut it. We're getting people and they're quitting because it's not enough. Not to mention, the scheduling is not steady. It varies. Yeah, you can get extra work, but if you're at the bottom of the totem pole, you're basically taking the crumbs. People, further up the totem pole get to pick more. They have more options, and they get the chance to get more hours and stuff like that. Because it's a union-based thing, and it's all based on seniority. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that either. But a lot of these people will flip their shit if they drop the progression, because for some reason, some people have a problem with things getting better for other people. I don't understand that. Things are getting better for other people. Yeah, you might have had to work through that, but really, do you want to keep the same system, or do you want it to be better for your future generations? That's a very selfish thing to think. Okay? Because, I want to think about my kids. Do I want my 24-year-old to have it as hard as I did when I was 24? And it was a lot easier when I was 24 than it is now. So, I want it to be at least as easy as it was when I was 24. Or easier. Because I want him to succeed. And the same thing down the line, because I have a lot of kids. Okay? I got one that's going to be 18 here in a couple years. Alright? And despite him having autism and some issues, I want him to be able to succeed. I want him to be able to work past and work around his issues to be a successful person. Same thing with my 14-year-old. Or is he 15? 14. I want him, when he grows up, to be able to succeed just as well as his other siblings, or better. I mean, it's not a competition or a race or anything. I just want them to succeed, do good at what they, to benefit from the things that they do, the things that they like, the things that they love. I think you should enjoy your job. I think you should make it, have a career that you enjoy. And I don't care what it is. If it's flipping burgers at McDonald's and that's what you want to do, I want you to succeed at that as well. A lot of people are like, well, that's for teenagers. No, because there's many adults that work at McDonald's. Sometimes they like it. Other times, it's the only option they have. I want people to have better options, but I also want people, no matter what they're doing, to succeed financially. To succeed financially means a roof over your head, food on the table, utilities paid, savings, retirement, benefits, and a little extra money on the side going into the bank and to spend for fun. That's a decent standard of living. Some people might think that's just pure opulence, but no, it's not. It was the idea back in the 40s and the 50s. It was FDR's idea. That's where we need to be. That's where minimum wage should be. But I want everybody, all the way down to my 2-year-old when she gets out of the house, to be successful, to do something she likes to do, and be compensated well for it. Now, is that socialism or communism? I don't think so. I don't care what method we're using, as long as it works. That's the thing. I'm generally somewhat of a capitalist, but I'm not opposed to some forms of socialism. I want to do whatever it does that makes it work. Plain and simple. So a lot of these guys don't complain, but really, especially those that are way older, think about the cost of living 20 years ago compared to now. Think about what the wages were to the cost, the ratio, compared to what it is now. Think about what the rent was 20 years ago compared to what it is now. Look, I'm not passing you on this road in front of a bridge. You can look at me in your mirror all you want, buddy. I remember it being a lot easier. I made like $350 a week. I was making like 9 something an hour. I can't remember exactly what it was. Working 40 hours a week. And I could pay my rent. It was a quarter of my income. Rent was $300, I think. It's either $300 or $350. I was making roughly $350 a week after taxes. But the federal minimum wage is less than what I was making then. Okay? The federal minimum wage is $7.50 an hour. I think Ohio has it at like $8 an hour or something like that. I don't care what your state has it as. I don't care what the federal government is, because there should be a bare minimum no matter what state you live in. And it needs to be at a level that people can have a decent standard of living, which is exactly what here's the thing. The whole thing that got me talking about it. What we're asking for with more unions, with certain amounts of socialism, or a higher minimum wage, and universal health care, is essentially what people had in the 60s and 70s and up into maybe the 90s. They started deteriorating in the 80s though, and we're just asking for that back. And they call us lazy and want freebies and stuff, but the cost of college was a hell of a lot less. In 1980, you're making what? Like $3.80 an hour? Something like that? For minimum wage? And the cost of a car was $7,000. A brand new car, $7,000. Now, a brand new car, average price, $47,000. And that's not for all the luxuries and everything. That's practically the base model. This used vehicle that we bought in 2020, it's a 2013. This vehicle, all right, cost me $20,000. I'm still paying on it. Okay, I think I've gotten it down to maybe 14, 15, hopefully. I haven't seen a statement for a while. I pay $600 a month on this thing. Who can afford that right now, minimum wage? I know, I couldn't. I can barely afford it now, but then I also have another car payment, which I'm only paying half for at the moment. The deal we had set up. I got property taxes, I got utilities, cell phones. Because out where I live, landline out here sucks. The internet out here sucks. So cell phones are unnecessary. I use mine for work and for personal use. So my wife needs one too, because we don't have a house phone, and we need GPS and we need stuff like that. She needs it more than I do, but GPS is a lot easier to use than a regular map. But sometimes I'll just use the map if I have an idea of where I'm going. Sometimes I'll just plug in a GPS, and if I know a better way, I'll take that and it'll reroute me or whatever. Plain and simple fact is, it's a useful tool. It costs way too much, I think, but it's our form of entertainment, it's our form of communication. I use it for work because the GPS, keeping track of everything for the union, for work, and all that stuff. It's all on my phone, because I don't use my desktop that much anymore. My desktop is basically a glorified Roku, because I have it hooked up to the big TV above it. You know, and yeah, we buy some stuff here and there, but right now, because of the cost of living raise, because of inflation, and the reduction in pay when I switched over to this job, because here next week I'll be making what I was making at my last job 2 years ago. So we're kind of hurting. Essentially, as soon as I get paid, that money's gone. We're struggling to pay for food. I have to overdraw my account to put gas in the car. Stuff like that. I quit smoking because that was $10 a day at the very least. And that's gone up to about $15 now a day, because I smoked almost 2 packs a day. That was more like a pack and a half, but you might as well figure 2 packs, right? Now I dip, and that's a hell of a lot cheaper. 20 bucks a week, 5 cans of dip, lasts me all week. So I've drastically cut my cost down. I don't eat out anymore, which, man, I'd love a good cheeseburger. I mean, homemade's good, but sometimes you just want that double quarter pounder. I wish Wendy's would bring back their jalapeno. And sometimes I just crave the triple jalapeno burger. Not the jalapeno popper burger, but the old jalapeno burger they used to have, where they modified it to the jalapeno popper burger. Because it did jalapenos on it. I gave up half the onions because my teeth have issues. But, oh man, that's just, yum, yum. And not good for me at all because of the triple, but every once in a while I like to indulge myself. I can't even do that once a week now. I used to get like White Castles on the way home, because the wife would be out grocery shopping on a Friday, and I'd fend for myself. And oftentimes, like today, while she's grocery shopping, I'll be sleeping, getting ready to go to work, because I work Friday nights into Saturdays. So there's that too. So a lot of times I would fend for myself on Friday, I'd get, it's like almost 10 bucks, which sucks because White Castle used to be a hell of a lot cheaper. And still, I mean, it ends up costing the same, but then again, I think it's like $8 to 10 bucks, and I get myself a double jalapeno combo with a large fry and a large drink, and I eat that on the way home. That way I don't have to make food or anything like that. I can't even do that anymore. So yeah, I'm definitely hurting right now, but I wasn't living beyond my means, you know, when I started this job. And I wouldn't be living beyond my means. I wouldn't be having this trouble if it wasn't for all this unnecessary inflation. Anyways, the plain and simple fact is, we're asking for the same shit that the boomers had. We want it to be that easy. They think it was hard. No. It's a piece of cake compared to now. I mean, yeah, we have a lot more luxury items than they did. But to just be able to go work somewhere for 40 hours a week and be able, one person, to be able to own a home, own a car, or two kids, a white picket fence, dog, cat, you know, go out on the weekends, be a part of a bowling league, have time to enjoy one's life. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. I literally work, come home, and if I'm lucky, I'll get 6 hours of sleep. Like right now, it's 2 o'clock. I worked a 13-hour day roughly. Not quite, but I had to figure out what was going on. I had to get gas. So I'm going to be home, let's say 2:15. If I go to sleep by 3, if I'm able to get to sleep by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'll get 5 hours of sleep. Maybe 6 if I sleep through my alarms. But then I'm rushing to get out the door to get to work on time. Luckily it's at night, traffic's low, but not always. Then there's deer, you can't drive as fast. I just don't want to push myself too fast, too hard, because that's when shit happens. I would love to be able to work an 8-hour day, or just be done with my run. I get done with my run somewhere around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Generally, I have to, I ask to do something else I can run. I at least try to get 12 hours in. Monday, I ended up doing a live load, and I had to wait a while. And that got me, what was it? I ended up working 13 and a half hours that day. Almost 14. So, I don't want to I just want to be done when I get back. And make enough money so I can come home and spend time with my family. So I can come home and enjoy my life. Have some downtime. That's not just shit, shower, sleep. I don't get to see my family. I don't get to do that kind of stuff. And the boomers, they did. My dad did. Yeah, my dad worked a lot of hours. He sometimes had to work a little extra here and there, but it wasn't a constant thing. He worked 3 12s at a time and then had time off. He could literally have 4 days off a week. Just depends on what his shift was. I'm having to work, 5 12, 60 hours a week is what I got to put in to make things work. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. But it is what it is, and it's what I have to do. And I think that we can do better. And to me, it might be implementing a little bit more socialism. A lot of people don't understand what it is, though. Russia was not communist, they were authoritarian. It was a dictator state. I want capitalism, socialism at the same time, to work together, to complement each other. Socialism will pick up the loose ends that capitalism just doesn't quite get. But I want capitalism to have regulation so that there's less need for socialism, but we have it. I want certain basic standards to be met. We have the technology, we have the money, we have the means. I'm not saying that you can't own a home. That's not what I want. I don't want things, you have to live in this, apartment that we supply for you and that's all you get and you can't do anything better. No. But I think if you are having trouble finding a place, I think you should be provided a place. I think there should be a basic standard, and you can pick the standard and save your money. I'm fine with that. There's a standard apartment for everybody that needs one. 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, whatever you need for your family. Okay? But Section 8 for everybody. It's not ideal, it sucks. Section 8's not fun to live in. But that kind of idea where, but it's free. Okay, there's a basic household for everybody. And yeah, you have restrictions, and if you want more, you got to pay for more. So we have socialism and capitalism working together. I want universal health care, because I don't think that should be a profitable venture. I think if the state mandates it, it should be provided by taxpayer dollars, like car insurance. Some people don't drive a car because they can't afford car insurance, or they drive without it. Because that's what they have to do. And I don't think that should be a thing, because car insurance ain't cheap anymore. Especially if you got a car loan, you got to have full coverage. That's expensive. 2 cars, and we're paying $200-300 a month for our car insurance, because we have to have full coverage on both of these. Now, I think full coverage should be like $50 per car, maybe. Okay, I'll go with that. But the basic, the legal minimum coverage for a car that you already own or something like that, that should be free, plain and simple. And it's not free, it's taxpayer dollars paid for it. Education, all the way through a 4-year degree in college should be free, like it is now. But instead of being funded by property taxes, levies on that and stuff like that, no. I think it should be funded by the federal government. A standard across the board for every school. That way the poor districts get the same as the rich districts. That way everybody has the same standard of education. Yeah, you can have special classes that you have to pay for and stuff like that. I don't mind having, field trips and stuff like that being partially funded by the parents, but for those who don't have the money, the kids should still, that's where the government, maybe our property taxes could fund extracurricular activities like marching band and stuff like that, field trips and stuff, so that those who don't have the means don't go without, because those things are important for a child's development. The arts are important. They increase our intelligence, our creativity. That'll lead to better future technologies, better opportunity for new jobs to come along that help our capitalistic system and help reduce the need for socialism. I want a very strong social safety net. I want certain things to not be profitable ventures. Education, healthcare. Which not insurance should not necessarily be profitable. But car insurance, I think if it's going to be mandated by the state, that needs to be funded. Anything more, like if you buy a car and they say we want full coverage, fine. But that shouldn't be an extra $200. It should be like $50 or something like that. Regardless, even if it is $200, the capitalistic system should work so that people can afford that. People should be able to put money in the bank. People should be able to save money for retirement, plus have a pension. We have the means to live in opulence. We have the means that everybody can have nice things. We just have to get rid of the rigging that's done in the system. And in politicians, we need reformation on that. No big money in politics. Okay? We need to make it so that people can't screw other people over to get rich. You want to get rich, you should be able to do it by working hard. If you want another job because you want extra money, fine. You're allowed to do that. I'm not saying you can't do that, but I don't think it should be necessary. If you're working 2 jobs just to make ends meet, that's fucked up. You should have more than enough money to be able to put money in the bank, food on the table, pay your rent, mortgage, whatever. I think home ownership should be encouraged, especially for people who are married and have children together. I don't think these big companies should be able to buy these places and raise the rent to where it's unaffordable, or raise the prices of these houses to where it's unattainable to the average person. The average person should be able to buy a house just like the rich person can. Sure, you're not going to buy a 5,000 square foot mansion. No, but you can get yourself a nice 2,000 square foot home for your family of 5. And the mortgage should not cost more than, and this includes your property taxes, your mortgage payment, and your insurance. Should not go more than 1/4 of your income. So the problem is not the prices necessarily. Yeah, that's a problem because it's artificially inflated. The problem is the money that people are making, working 40 hours a week full-time somewhere, should be enough to pay for a standard mortgage. The credit system needs reworked. The school loan thing, that just needs to be obliterated, just gone. Let's actually work to make this country great again. Not the Trumpian way, but how it used to be. And then some. Take a model that actually worked before Reagan came into office, go back to implementing that, and add more. Like universal health care, universal education. Maybe even a UBI for those who don't have jobs, for those who are on disability. We can do better. There's no reason we should have anybody in poverty levels or poor in general, or homeless in this country, or uneducated. In this day and age, that should not exist. And we can get there. We just got to stop these narcissistic, selfish ass people from not letting it happen. Yeah, it's a form of socialism. We're not talking about post-capitalistic socialism here. And if we were, I would want a Star Trek style of world to live in. But it would be a global achievement in order for that to happen. I can dream, right? That's my dream. Reality can be close, similar, better than what it is now. So yeah, vote assholes out of office. Vote in people who are going to actually represent you. I don't care what party they are. They don't need to be party affiliated. They just need to have good ideas and policies. And if they don't implement them, get them out. Replace them. So we want to replace Biden because he's not doing what he said he was going to do. That's fair. Replace him. Get rid of him. We don't want Trump back in office. And those that do, why? Pay attention to his actual policies. Pay attention to the things he's actually done. Like all the tax cuts. Pay attention. You average people out there. The tax cuts, if you're making, I think it was $250,000 or something, or $750,000, you got to be making a lot of money in order for those tax cuts to stay on you. Otherwise, they're going up for you if you're making less than that certain amount, and it's a big amount. At the very least, it's $175,000 a year. How many of you make that? But I think it's even higher than that. Most people make less than that. Most people are going to have their taxes raised. You're not getting the tax cuts you think you are. These tax cuts are temporary. That's what Trump passed. So please, use your head, do a little research. And try to understand that socialism is not bad. It isn't Russia. It isn't Cuba. It isn't Venezuela. We don't have to be like them, and not to mention Cuba and Venezuela, we fucked with them. We caused their problems. They were doing fine until we got involved. Plain and simple. Russia, they got their own problems because, well, their revolution put in people who are assholes. That's all I got. I'm going to go for now.